Okay, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Good to see everybody hopping in here. I love that. Drop a little comment down below. Let me know where you're watching from. If you're watching from Kelowna or somewhere else, sometimes we get people from all over the place, either watching the replay or jumping in on live. So anyway, thanks for being here. If this is your first time, welcome. If you've been with me for a while, thanks for continuing to show up. I love it. My name is Tanya Gustafson. I'm your nutritionist and fitness coach. Fit Nutrition is my company. And I started this many years ago to help women, take back control of their health and hormones and move from surviving to thriving. Because we've had enough of this hanging on by our fingernails and just surviving nonsense, right? All right. Oh, from Lethbridge. Thanks for popping in today. Love that. And I know we've got some locals on the call here today, which is awesome. Love seeing everybody. So today we're going to talk about some things to avoid, right? And so I'm sure we've all done this. Like I said in the invite, that isn't it frustrating when you learn that some things you've been doing throughout your life that you thought were healthy are not? All of a sudden it's like, I've been doing this for a long time. Or I had this belief, or I've avoided this for a long time because I thought it was healthy, right? And then you're like, all of a sudden that, just gets all blown out of the water. So that was me. So a little bit of my backstory. I've been in the health and fitness industry since 1986, and I do health in quotation marks because back then, and same to some degree now, it was more about fitness than it was about health. So there was a lot about fitness and a little teeny bit about health. And the stuff that they did tell us about health was all to do with, weight loss. And you should just work out harder, count your calories, don't eat any fat grams. Remember the 90s, right? For all of you that were here. Oh my gosh. It's like, don't eat any of that. It's bad for you. And the only way you can ever lose weight or get to your goal or whatever is to deprive, cut out things and deprive some more, right? All the dieting behaviors. And as I entered the industry as a fitness instructor, personal trainer, but I had a big background in learning about health just because some things that had happened in my family. And so I was kind of always looking at food and different things, but there was that piece, right? So I was that gal who was doing all those, counting the calories and writing down my fat grams every day and just going by that. And I thought that would be healthy, that I would, stop at a certain number of calories every day and then that's all I needed, because I had a slow metabolism. And so, if I ate too much, then I would gain weight is what I thought, and it turns out that is completely the opposite and upside down. And as soon as I learned that and flipped the switch, things have been so different in my life. From that moment on, it took me 22 years to learn all of that, what I coach here, and I've been living it for 15 years. Yeah, I'm aging myself a lot. I turned 57 this month, a couple of weeks ago. So it's been a long time. But if you've held some beliefs before and things are kind of busting through and myth busting, and you're just like, there's so much information out there, I don't know. Okay, well, you're in the right place and you're in good company. Just wanted to let you know that. All right. So yeah, like my understanding of how our body metabolizes the food that we give it along with what happens when we don't, was completely turned upside down. So, and the science of it all is blood sugar stabilization. I call it the BS of health, right? And so today we're talking about, so that's something that you should do. Balance your blood sugar, use food to create hormonal balance and stabilize blood sugar always. But today I was going to talk about 5 things that we should stop doing, especially if you're over 50. And so I'm going to put a caveat on this age thing, because most people, when they talk about age, thinks that something is happening to them, or they're not getting results, or things aren't going the way they want because they are a certain age. That's a myth. It's not your age number. It's the length of time you've been doing something or not doing something that doesn't serve your body. Okay. So oftentimes we associate that with age because we get to a certain age and then we're like, oh my gosh, but it's so much different. It's so much harder. It's so much this or that. Now that I am fill in the blank, right? Over 40, over 50, over 60, whatever it happens to be. But it's really not about that age number. It's about how long you've been doing something or not doing something that got you to that point. So I say that to say, it doesn't matter what age you are here on this call. You know, you can be in your 20s, you can be in your 80s. You can still turn your metabolism back on. You can still improve your health at any age. So here's a few of some of the 5 things that we need to stop doing. And maybe you're not doing these things. That's okay. That's great. So I would love to hear your comments down below as we're rifling through these. So if you got a pen and a paper, that's awesome. Come to take notes when you come to these calls, because I like to give a little bit of education. I have a background in education, in special needs and with behavior therapy. And so I like to teach. I've done a lot of things that involve teaching in my life. I like to impart some things, because once you learn something, it's yours for life. Nobody can take that away from you. Education is powerful. All right, so number 1 thing to stop doing is stop shorting yourself on sleep. Don't miss your sleep. And so, has anyone ever woke up in the morning and you feel like you had enough hours of sleep, like that the length of time that you were in bed was a good amount of time, but you woke up feeling like you got hit by a truck? Anybody ever have that? Drop a me or a 1 down in the chat if that's ever been you. If that happens, it's there could be 2 reasons. It's the quality of sleep. Actually, there could be 3 reasons. The quality of sleep, the inconsistency of what time you're going to bed and waking up, and your circadian rhythm is number 3. Okay. So let's start with, I'm going to just touch on that circadian rhythm, because a lot of times we don't realize that this plays a big role. So your circadian rhythm, your sleep cycles, right? They go up and down. And so you start off with very light sleep as you're going to sleep, right? You know that if you kind of lay down for a little cat nap, a little power nap, that you can wake up super, super easy, right? Like you hear a noise and it just wakes you right up, because you're not in that deep sleep yet. So that's about the first 20 minutes or so, you know, of that sleep. 20 starts to get down to 30, then you start to get deeper sleep. And then there's like your REM sleep, and then you're at the bottom of so if your sleep cycle goes like this, down and up, you got your light sleep up here and your really heavy sleep down here. So those cycles, if you think about, they go in about 90 minutes. Okay, so they get a little shorter as you get close to the end of, like, to the morning, but they do average about 90 minutes. So light sleep, bit heavier sleep, heavy sleep, REM sleep, you're out like a light at the bottom, and then it starts to reverse and come back up the other side, and then it repeats. Okay, and then they get a little shorter as you get closer to waking up. So if your alarm is going off when you're at the bottom of that sleep cycle, way down here, you will feel like you got hit by a truck, because your brain is not in that place to wake up. Okay, so the idea being is we want to go to bed at the same time every night, waking up at the same time in the morning. Our bodies love patterns and love rhythms and love predictability. Okay, so when you set your body up in a schedule, you can go to bed and wake up without an alarm clock. I do that all the time. I usually wake up, there's probably about a 20-minute, maybe a half an hour span either side of 5 o'clock where I wake up in the morning, because I go to bed at the same time every night. Right? And it makes it like this. And so if you're waking up and you feel like you got hit by a truck, backtrack your time when you need to be awake, backtrack it by 90-minute increments, and then you'll know what time to go to bed. Okay? And when you do that, now you're waking up when your body is getting close to the light sleep, so you're much more ready to get up. You don't feel like you got hit by a truck. So that's another one. And then if you're having trouble getting to sleep or staying asleep, then we need to have a good sleep hygiene. So here's some good tips for sleep. All right. Make sure your bedroom is a little cooler than the rest of your house. So maybe crack the window a little bit, or close the door, or turn off your heat vent, or put it halfway or something. Make it a little bit cooler, because as your body starts to wind down in the evening, do you ever notice that if you get overtired that you get cold? Ever notice that? Pay attention. If you haven't noticed that, pay attention next time. I am that way. When I get super tired, I get cold. And that's your body getting ready for sleep. Okay, we cool down a little bit when we go to sleep. And so in the evening, dim the lights, you know, after dinner, as it's because we're designed to wake up with the sunrise and go to sleep with the sunset. And with all of these, you know, devices and things like this, and our computers and the TV and all the things, and fluorescent lighting and all the stuff, we're bombarded with blue light, even though it's not blue, it's blue light rays that are, you know, hitting your eyeballs and telling your brain that it's morning, wake up. And if it's telling your brain it's daytime, stay awake, then, you know, and then you go to bed and expect yourself to go to sleep like this, and your brain's like, but you just told me for the last 3 hours that I'm supposed to be awake. So now it takes longer to wind down. You get frustrated. You probably get up, play on your phone for a little bit, watch some TV, and then it makes it even harder. Like it's kind of perpetuates that cycle, right? So if you can set a bedtime routine, this is like, it's called sleep hygiene. Set a bedtime routine and turn the lights down, dim the lights, shut off all your screens about half an hour before, maybe have a warm bath, listen to some music, read a book. You know, clean up those last little tasks in your kitchen. So what I do is I like shut everything off, and then I go and like, you know, empty my dishwasher. I have just my under counter lights on, like just low. And then I empty my dishwasher and I put all the stuff away, and then I, you know, go wash my face and get ready for bed and put out all my things I need for tomorrow. And so by that time, it's about my half an hour, right? I'm just winding down, keeping the lights all dim, and then I hit the pillow and out like a light. And typically I haven't had problems going to sleep, but I've been sort of consistent with that. Okay, so if that makes sense. And some people just find it easier than others. So those are just a few tips. So the first thing to not do is miss your sleep, because you need sleep. And sleep is that place where your body restores, it repairs, it flushes out toxins, it releases fat and flushes it out. And it also, if you're not getting enough sleep, your body can't properly metabolize the food that you're taking in during the day. Your metabolism is a little bit wonky if you're not sleeping. It creates internal stress and inflammation, and then that just perpetuates a whole nother cycle. So sleep is important, all right? So don't skip the sleep. Oh, and you can't catch up on sleep. This is something I did not know until, you know, about 4 or 5 years ago. If you are short on sleep, you know, a couple nights or whatever, you're thinking, I'm just going to catch up on the weekend. We all say that, I'm going to catch up, have a good sleep, sleep in. You sleep more that day, but it doesn't replace what you missed over here. You can never actually catch up on sleep that you missed. It's gone. Whatever repair, whatever your body was supposed to be doing at that time, you cannot replace that. It doesn't catch up. So you just need to know that. All right, number 2, things to stop doing after 50, or things for anybody. If you're under 50 here, still a good thing to do or not do. So don't miss your sleep. And number 2, avoid alcohol, especially in the evening. So many people, and again, this backs right onto sleep, right? They think, oh, I'm going to wind down, I'm going to have a glass of whatever. It's going to help me relax and go to sleep. Well, a lot of times it will, you'll feel that it's helping you go to sleep, but it doesn't actually help you stay asleep or have deep sleep. It interrupts your sleep. Okay. So if you find that you're waking up in the middle of the night, going to the bathroom, or you're just kind of restless or whatever, that's that alcohol twigging. And it doesn't actually let you have that full restorative sleep that you need, because there's no safe amount of alcohol. Okay, alcohol is a toxin. It's highly processed. It's a carbohydrate with like sugars and a whole bunch of grains and things, and it elevates your blood sugar, which, you know, and then having it on its own by itself, you know, when you get home from work or before you go to bed or whatever, you're having it without food, without a protein, without a fat, it spikes your blood sugar. And every time your blood sugar spikes, your body stores fat. It causes inflammation. It causes an insulin spike. So it perpetuates all of those metabolic diseases. So am I saying, oh my gosh, you can never have alcohol again? No. What I'm saying is, if you would like to partake, you know, be smart about it. Have it with your protein and fat. Have it with your meal earlier in the evening. Don't have it close to bedtime. Don't have it in the evening, and limit yourself. You know, there's actually, they used to say, oh, 3 to 4 drinks a week, you're okay. Then it was like, you know, 1 to 2 a week is probably okay. Now they're actually saying there's really no safe amount of alcohol. So that's, you know, I'm going to leave that up to you. That's your own personal discretion. I'm just here to bring you the things that help you navigate this time of your life, and also to create an up level health in your body. So number 1, don't miss your sleep. Number 2, avoid the alcohol, especially in the evenings. Okay, number 3, avoiding the processed foods and food-like substances. There's a lot of things, anything that comes in a package, box, bag, can, or wrapper. Take a look at the ingredient list, and there's probably, you know, if there's a handful of things you can't pronounce, put it back. I would highly recommend putting it back. Okay. Here are some of my top things to avoid. I'm never going to tell anybody you can't eat these. But these ones I'm just going to recommend. If you have them, go throw them in the garbage. That's my disclaimer. All right. Baicel and all your margarines, any of the fake butters. Now there's a caveat. Some of the plant butters, if they're not full of food-like substances, if they're actually, you know, there's a cashew-based one, there's a coconut-based one, those are actually real food, whipped, that spread like butter, okay? Those are fine. Again, reading your labels, because it's going to come in a container, right? So your Baicels, your margarines, vegetable shortening, and vegetable oils. There's no vegetables in any of them. Who are we kidding? Those are toxic chemical experiments. And the way they're derived, it makes those substances toxic to use under heat and moisture. And where do we use them all? In our cooking, in our salads, in our baking, heat and moisture, right? So vegetable shortening, corn oil, sunflower oil, canola oil, grapeseed oil, all of the seed oils, yuck, yuck, and more yuck. They are very toxic and they're inflammatory to your body. They contain a high amount of omega-6s. Okay, so if you ever heard about omegas, we need omegas 3, 6s, and 9s. We're always telling people have more omega-3s. They're good for your brain. Eat your fish. They're full of omega-3s, right? You've all heard that. Yes, if you've heard that, drop a yes down below or give me a nod. That's great. Okay, I'm seeing nodding. And I see yeses. Thank you for participating. This is great. So, but the idea is that we should be consuming, in an ideal world, okay, nobody's perfect. In an ideal world, we should have, if we tested our bodies, we would contain, when it comes to omegas, 1 for 1. So 1 omega-6 to 1 omega-3. Okay. The statistics now in the world, and they say it's safe. You can go between, so like 3 to 9 omega-6s to 1 omega-3. That's kind of the outside of where you'd want to be. Okay. Where we are now, the last statistic that I heard, and it's probably a little higher at the moment because this is a few years ago, but it was 1 to 17. So we are, like 2 to 3 times more loaded with omega-6s than what's healthy for us than with our omega-3s. Okay. So we want to flip that switch and put it back. So, and seed oils are very high in all of those omega-6s. If you're looking at packaged and processed foods, also very high in the seed oils, which then translates to your omega-6s. Okay. And those all cause disruption and inflammation in your body. Inflammation, back to that, is the root cause of all disease. We want to minimize that as best as humanly possible. Yeah. Got my water here. Who else has got their water? I see. Oh, good job, Helen. I see Helen's. I never go anywhere without my water bottle. Boy, those times when you accidentally forget it and you're like, no, where's my water? Water here too. Way to go, Shauna. Woohoo. Look at this. I love it. Okay. So that's what we're going to, and so these other things to avoid, yes, the margarines, the seed oils, cereal. Cereal was first invented to be a dessert. Let's just start with that. And then they realized sort of that the small bits of cereal weren't, really probably going to market well for dessert. So they put it, okay, let's market it to kids and make it pretty colors and all the things. And I'm sure you've all seen a lot of the stuff that's happening in the States right now with companies. They're being challenged because there are so many nasty things in those packaged foods, dyes and colors and fake ingredients and all the things that are very fake sugars, very toxic. And if we look at the health of North America, even from when I was a child to now, our health is worse, right? Our healthcare system is burdened. There are more and more people overweight. People are now on an average of at least 2 to 5 medications that they should be on. Their doctors tell them for life. That's not a healthcare system, that's a Band-Aid system. But there's also the food is that we have to be looking at what we're putting in our bodies. Your body is your vehicle that drives you through life. Your car in the driveway drives you around town. Doing a little comparison here. If you only ever had the one car or truck, whatever you drive, your one vehicle, if you only ever had one, that's it. Whatever you have in that driveway right now, pretend that you're never going to have another one. You won't trade it in. You don't have a lease agreement that you can swap out. You don't have an upgrade, nothing. That's it, not a zero. How well would you be taking care of that car? Would you put the wrong gas in it? No. Would you let it run low on oil? Probably not. Would you change the fluids regularly? Probably. Would you have it in there for its daily, or not daily, but its regular oil changes and fluids and change the tires and all that? You would, because nobody wants to get stuck on the side of the road. Well, you don't want your body to leave you hanging either, right? So we want to make sure that what we're putting in most of the time, because hey, we're not perfect here. No perfect people allowed. So I just want you to I'm going to put that caveat out there. No perfect people allowed. So does that mean we're never going to have any of those foods? No, of course not. We're going to go to birthdays. We're going to eat out. We're going to visit with people. We're going to, go on vacations, all the things, go on a cruise. Who knows what's in the food when you're eating out, right? We don't. So we're going to do those things. But if we're doing the things that serve our body more and showing up for ourselves more, then your toxic load bucket is a lot emptier and has a lot more room to handle when you do that stuff. And then it becomes a tiny blip in your radar and not a big health crisis. Okay. So, and then the other thing, so yeah, all the cereals. Oh yeah, we used to eat cereal. I used to eat cereal as a kid. I used to love it when my mom let me buy cereal. And then I thought, as I was getting older, I thought, I'm gonna tell my mom to buy me the healthy cereals. So I would say, get me the mini wheats or get me the shredded wheat, or remember those big shredded wheats? They were like one big wheat thing. You could break it up and put your milk on it. Okay, I ate those too because I thought it was healthier. It's not necessarily healthier. It's all just one carbohydrate mixed with 0 protein. And so it's spiking my blood sugar first thing in the morning. Who knew? Okay, shredded wheat, darn. I know, right? I know. Take a look at the labels and see what's in those things. It's only telling you that there's some protein in there because you've added milk or you've added something else. But look for the sugars. And here's another thing. I didn't even put sugar on this list because we all know that we need to minimize that, right? And if you're doing these other things, you naturally are going to minimize your sugar anyway. So I didn't really have to say that. But if you want to know how much sugar is in things that you're consuming, look at the label, the nutrition label, right? And where it says the number of grams, divide that by 4. Okay, divide by 4. So number of grams divided by 4 equals the teaspoon equivalent. So now you can tell how many teaspoons you are eating, have eaten, will eat, whatever. You can go look on some things that you used to eat. So that is take a look. If you eat yogurt, take a look at like a Greek yogurt, a natural with nothing added to it, and then one that's got all the flavorings in it, you will be floored. If you like Tim Hortons ice caps, go and search the nutritional value online and divide it and you will be floored. Because then ask yourself, would I ever put X number of teaspoons? Would I ever put that on my food? Would I put that amount on my food? If the answer is no, then why would you eat that? Because that's exactly what you're doing. Okay, is that making sense? If that making sense, say yes down below, okay? Because I want to know if that's making sense. If you're tracking with me here. Yes, good. Okay, awesome. All right, so number one, we're not missing sleep. Number two, we're not having alcohol late at night or very infrequently, because there are going to be those occasions. We're minimizing our processed foods. And the other processed food that I wanted to stick in here, and this has been a stick in my craw for a long time. I actually even wrote an article about it years ago because it drove me nuts so much. Those pre-made, what they call healthy protein shakes, the pre-made ones, the Ensure, the Glycerna, the Slim Fast. Oh my gosh, my tongue. Slim Fast. Okay. If you know, you can get them really cheap in the drugstore. Your doctor might even have them in their office and hand you some. Nestle also makes something. Here's the thing. If a hot chocolate company is making your healthy protein shake, like run, okay? Quality matters, sourcing matters, where the stuff come from matters. These things are loaded with, synthetic vitamins, because it'll tell you, oh, it's got all your vitamins and everything you need for the day. It's got protein. It's synthetic. It's a very low quality protein. There's usually a lot of sugar in there, or fake sugars. If it says, oh, this one's sugar-free, low sugar, read your label. Read your label. See what's in it. Okay? That's all I'm going to say about that. All right. So the first three things: don't miss your sleep. Avoid the alcohol in the evenings. Avoid those processed and food-like substances, right? Eat real food. Eat more of real food. Sitting. Okay, sitting is number 4. We're going to stop sitting. Notice I'm standing. I'm standing up here. My chair is over here. Standing activates your core. It makes you more alert. It helps with your balance. It helps with your bone density, because the weight of your body is now being supported by your skeletal system. Okay. And you burn off more calories when you stand up. It's like a 15% more calorie burn because you're standing up. You also have more energy when you're talking to people because you're standing up. You notice that I'm pretty energetic here. I don't even drink coffee. Okay, this is me all the time. So stand more than you sit, if at all possible. If you are at a sitting job all the time, I highly suggest that in between tasks, you get up and do a lap around your office, or get up and do some jumping jacks, or do some squats up and down off of your chair. Set a timer. Use our devices. If you have a little watch timer, if you have a phone timer, maybe a pop-up on your computer. My daughter's an artist. My middle child, my oldest daughter, I have a son and 2 girls. My oldest girl is a graphic artist. She's a graphic designer, illustrator, animator. So she's on her computer a lot. That's what she creates. That's what she does. She works with people all over the world. She's an amazing artist. And she's actually coming home from Hong Kong tomorrow. So Ashley's coming home. Anyway, but she sets on her computer to pop up and remind her I think it's every 1 hour, every 2 hours, she has it set for her to get up and walk around and to actually look somewhere else. That's the other thing. If you're on a screen a lot, change your gaze and look at something far away for a few minutes. Okay, so she's got it set for every so often to get up and move and to change her gaze and to stretch. And then she goes back and sits down. So it's super easy. Yeah, it is smart, isn't it? When she told me that, I'm like, dang, that's a great idea. Use your technology for you, for you. So I have my standing desk here, and I also have a sitting desk here. So just the way my office is constructed, but you can get a standing desk. You can just get a little stand. You can even use a box that comes from Amazon and put your computer on it. Like really, when to change up your day so that you're not always standing, you're always sitting. My next edition is going to be one of those little tiny treadmill walker things for under my desk. Because if I'm standing here at a long period of time, I can actually move, and I can get some things done. Like feeling good about moving around rather than just being still, right? So a body in motion stays in motion. Anything in motion stays in motion, right? Law of physics, but a body in motion stays in motion. If you don't use it, you lose it. I know these are cliches, they're old quotes. They're true. So you want to stay moving. It actually helps your body to stay lubricated, your joints to stay lubricated the more you move. it creates more synovial fluid in your joint when you move. If the longer you sit, the longer you are inactive, you're like the Tin Man. And sitting is the new smoking. And here's the thing, if you have a tracker that can, manage your steps, this is something, so just so you can check in and see how much you actually think you're moving in a day. Not to say that you need to be obsessed with a number, okay? That's not everywhere I'm going, but just for your own aha moment to see, like, so challenge yourself. How much do you think you're walking per day? How many steps do you think you're doing? I see, if you've got a pen and paper here right now, write down how many steps a day you think you're walking. I'm going to give you a little reference here. Below 6,000 steps per day is considered sedentary. Okay, so under 6,000 steps is considered sedentary. So if you don't have a frame of how many thousands of steps am I walking, then just say to yourself, am I under or over 6K? All right, so write that down right now. This is for you, not for me. You don't have to tell me. If you would like to send me something after you figure this out, and just let me know, I'd love to hear, okay? Because I always like to hear how people make out with these little challenges that I give you. So if you have a tracker, if you have a cell phone, you probably have a tracker built right in. Check the health app on your phone. If you keep it with you, so put it in your pocket, make sure instead of leaving it on the counter, put it in your pocket for a day and walk around just to kind of get an idea if it's an average day. And if it's a different sort of a day, that weird things have happened that don't normally happen, then you might want to do it for, 2 or 3 days to get kind of an average. And then you'll see, where are you at? And some days, I mean, mine's on my watch, so I can tap into the little steppy thing here. Where am I at right now? Right now, I'm at 8,900 steps. Because in the morning, I get up, I go to the gym, and then I come home and I walk my dog, and then I will walk her again in the afternoon. And I aim to get between 12 and 15,000 steps because I like to move. I don't like to be still. So that is me. But as long as you need to find out where your average is, and then you improve, then you challenge yourself from there. Okay? So everyone is different. All right. So that's number 4. Minimize the sitting. Get up and move. And here's the last one. Number 5 of things to avoid over 50 is believing that you're too old to lift heavy, to challenge yourself, to do weight-bearing activities. We need to do more things to build muscle, not less. Okay? You are never too old. So my dad's going to be 84 coming up November. And he where he lives up north, they have this share shed thing at where you go to the dump. There's like a little place, it's called a share shed. And people will drop off stuff that's still good and usable. They just don't need it anymore. They don't really have a thrift store in the little town where my dad is. So they kind of, the residents kind of made their own. It's called the share shed. You drop things in there, somebody comes and they want it, they can take it home. Pharisees, right? So my dad goes to take stuff to the dump and he looks in the share shed and lo and behold, he finds a weight bar with some 10-pound weights on the end, like a bar, old fashioned kind with those, clips that screw on. So he takes it home and he sends me a picture. Because here's what my dad was doing before. He had an old broom handle with milk jugs that had sand in them that he was using to lift up. Because he knows that he needs, I just know, isn't that funny? I know, right? So here's my dad. He sends me this picture now. He's got his broom handle weights and he's got his new metal bar in his basement. So he does his stretches and he does his weightlifting and he does his squats and he does his push-ups and every day. And so just to give you a frame of reference, okay, you can definitely improve your health as you age. My dad is healthier in his 80s than he was in his 50s and 60s. That's a whole other story. If you followed me, you probably heard it. But just to let you know, a couple of years ago, he wasn't actively lifting the weights. He's always been doing his stretching and some push-ups and things like that. But he's now up leveling. He says, I've been hearing some things that I should be building some more muscle. And I said, yeah, you should. That's a great idea. Keep going. Go, Dad. So does that need to be, do you have to go to the gym? Do you have to get weights? Do you have to have a share shed where you can go grab free weights? No. Here's a couple things you can do that are super simple that will add some weight to your everyday. Because here's the thing, if you're like, well, I lift and move around every day, in my job, I do some things. Okay, what you're doing on a daily basis, you need to do something different and more challenging than that, because your body has already adapted and that is its baseline now. Okay? It's like I've been going to the gym for a long time. If I want to improve, then I have to now increase my weights or do a longer workout or do more reps. Like I have to change something, right? If it doesn't challenge you, it's not going to change you. And if, after 30, we start losing muscle mass if we are not actively trying to look at protecting it and building it. So we need to protect it by bringing down the inflammation and balancing our blood sugar, like we talked about. And then you want to build it by doing something that provides resistance or weight. If it's an effort to move it, it works your muscles. If it's an effort to lift it, to do it, that uses your muscles. So if you're just going out for a walk and you're walking kind of, like this, okay, that's your everyday walk, right? What happens now if you walk like someone's chasing you, but you can't run? That's going to do a little bit more, right? That's working those muscles harder for sure. What happens if you decide, oh, I should put a hill into my walk? Okay, now gravity is pulling against you. That's a resistance. You're going uphill. We all know it's harder to walk uphill than it is to walk on flat, right? That's using different muscles. There we go. What happens if you have no hills and you have no stairs? Are another good one. You can use stairs. If you have no hills, no stairs, you could put a little backpack on your back and throw your water bottle in there. It's a little bit of weight. As you get stronger, maybe you want to add a book. Maybe you want to add 2 books. You get where I'm going with this, right? Okay. Maybe you're at work and you're like, I don't even know when I can fit this in. I don't have a half an hour or an hour every day. You don't have to. What about in the morning, and you get up and you're getting something ready. There's this one gal I know, she was brewing her tea in the morning, boiling water for her tea. The whole thing took 7 minutes. What was she doing during the 7 minutes? Well, she was actually on social media, scrolling, doing nothing. Okay, so here's the challenge. What can you do in 7 minutes? Oh, okay. So now she decided, well, I'm going to do, 20 squats. I'm going to do a plank for however many seconds she could hold it. And then she did something else. Sorry, I can't remember the 3, but anyway, she did 3 and that took up her 7 minutes. And she started feeling like really energized in the morning. What happens when you're watching TV at night and there's a commercial on? Oh, well, could you stand up and sit down in your chair doing squats until the next commercial came on? Sure. Could you walk over to the wall? Because if maybe full body push-ups are just not in your wheelhouse. Maybe full body push-ups with your knees down still aren't in your wheelhouse because you're not strong enough. Okay, can you go over to the wall and do wall push-ups while the commercial's on? Why not? That if you don't have to have a massive amount of time, a huge block of time, you just have to do something different from what you were doing before that adds resistance. If you like to go swimming and you're in the pool, walking hard in the pool, waist high water or whatever, that's resistance right there. Using your arms to pull you through as you're walking. If you're not a great swimmer, more resistance. You're using your low body and your upper body to pull with the arms. There's a lot of things you can do. So think outside the box. So as I'm talking about this, do you have something in mind that you can add to your day that can increase your strength? Did anything I say spark something in your brain? I would drop it in the chat down below what you thought of that you can do. So what's one thing you can do? This is your challenge. I want you to tell me about it and I want you to write it down on your piece of paper too. What else can you do to increase your strength? Okay. Here we are. So I'm going to recap the 5 while I'm waiting for you guys to do that. I'm not seeing, come on, participate. There's got to be something here somebody thought about. Come on now. So the 5 things that we're going to avoid over 50, 5 things over 50, stop missing your sleep, avoiding the alcohol, especially in the evenings, ditching the processed and food-like substances and replacing them with whole foods, get up, stop sitting, right? Stop sitting and start moving. Try and get over that 6,000 K steps. So there was your challenge for that one, right? Are you over or under, and where are you? Find out where you are. And then stop believing that you're too old for anything, especially the lifting and building muscle, because muscle determines longevity. Just so you know that. The more muscle we have, the longer and healthier we will live, and the more we will enjoy life. So, all right. If you got something out of today, drop a yes down below if something resonated with you and resonated and or inspired you to do something. Give me a yes down below, because I'd love to hear that. And if not, then if you have any questions, drop those down below too. Yes, extend my daily walk distance and grab my backpack. Good. Okay, Shauna's gonna put on a backpack. Love it. Thank you, Helen. Yes. And does anyone have any questions? If you have questions, you can type them in the chat there. Or if you don't want to type them, you can unmute. Thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate that. You can unmute and yell out your question. Then that's okay too. And if not, then we'll just sign off and we'll meet back here again next week. So thank you all for showing up, for joining in our Wednesday live coaching here. And great to see so many people on today live. And I hope you head out and have a wonderful Wednesday today. All right. Thanks for joining, you guys. See you back here next week. Same time, same station. Happy Wednesday.